Zionism has an often kind of intimate meaning for a lot of Jews, but also a somewhat amorphous meaning. And it maybe partly the name itself, the name Zionism, comes from the word Zion, which is just a biblical name for Jerusalem or Israel. And so for some people, Zionism is simply a way of saying, I feel connected to this place, right? This place meaning both a country, but also a land, a territory that long precedes the country, and the group of people who live there, who now constitute close to half of the Jews on earth. And it's also very natural for people to think about Zionism as meaning Jewish refuge, a place that Jews were able to go after the Holocaust, a place that Jews could go if they're in distress. But when you actually ask people to think about what this project means for Palestinians, if you can bring that into the conversation, actually then sometimes people's opinions start to shift a bit, because the truth is that Zionism has been a really brutal experience for Palestinians. It led to their dispossession of most Palestinians, their expulsion in 1948, and the whole project of Jewish statehood, which has basically been essentially about controlling as much land as possible while making sure that Jews hold political power and Palestinians are either stateless or expelled beyond the borders or second-class citizens. This has been a profoundly brutal and traumatizing experience for Palestinians. And what's interesting is that when American Jews, at least, are forced to think about Zionism through that lens, their perceptions of Zionism turn out to actually be a little bit different. So the Canadian political scientist Mira Sukharov did this really interesting poll. She asked American Jews if they considered themselves Zionists, but she gave them several definitions. And so while American Jews said they did consider themselves Zionists overwhelmingly if Zionism meant feeling a connection to Israel, and they did feel like they were Zionists if it meant supporting a Jewish and democratic state, when they were asked if they consider themselves Zionists if Zionism means supporting a state that gives Jews rights that Palestinians don't have, then a majority of Jews said no, which is really quite remarkable, because actually that is the reality of what Zionism means as reflected in Israeli practice today. It's the ideology of a state that behaves in a certain way. And the way that state behaves is that most of the Palestinians under its control, those in the West Bank and Gaza, are not even citizens of the country that has life and death power of them. And then a minority of Palestinians, quote unquote Arab Israelis, are citizens, but of a very, very much second-class quality. So American Jews, fascinatingly, want to cling, many of them, to this term Zionism, but they also have an association, a belief in the principle of equality under the law, perhaps because they want that in the United States. And the more they have to reckon with the way in which these two things are in conflict, the more they're actually willing to rethink the degree to which Zionism actually captures what they really believe.